Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardeners, the OCGFAM Show. It's Wednesday. We're talking about the spare bedroom garden. We have a guest, Mark Ervin, Green Gro. Stopped by, just happened to be coming through. Knows a lot about this stuff. So I asked him about the, I'm asking you right now, I'm asking about the garden, the spare bedroom garden. What do you think?
Yeah, I think a spare bedroom garden is an awesome approach to having some extra fresh veggies around the house and things like that. My experience with it is that you need to pick plants that you use on a daily basis, so that when you're harvesting, you can just put them to use right away, or you get a good food processor or storage device or a canning system, because a lot of people tend to go, okay, well, I want 5 tomato plants and I want 6 pepper plants and I want this, that, and the other. But one pepper plant, if grown properly, produces enough peppers for a family.
Sure.
One tomato plant, if grown, yay big and pushed out, is going to have 10 pounds of tomatoes on it or more.
Sure.
So I think being realistic about what we should put in the garden, not thinking emotionally on what we want to grab from the store, thinking really, what do we use in our house all the time? What are we always buying that's expensive from the store that we want to replace? Tomatoes, peppers, broccoli, whatever's expensive enough that you want to grow and have more nutrients in that vegetables here. And also multiple uses for that one thing. Tomatoes, right? Tomatoes can be steamed, blanched, and made into sauces. It can be turned into salsa. It can be made into hot sauce. It can be made sun-dried tomatoes. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. Sure. Stewed tomatoes for making specialty sauces too, like Italian dishes, things like that. Potatoes, you can dice them, you can slice them, you can turn them into mashed potatoes. You can put them as a topping you can make bread out of them, all that kind of stuff. So potato plants, again, one potato plant is going to produce 20 potatoes. So maybe only have 2 potato plants in your garden. The things that don't produce very heavily is lettuce, right? You only get 1 head off that. You might have to, it grows quickly, but
Okay, so maybe lettuce and something like that, we got them always going in a thing. Now, do you think there's some way, we were trying to think of some way we can maybe grow a lot of lettuce. Do you think you might be able to stack those in a tray or put them up the wall or something like that?
And that's how it's grown in a lot of places. A lot of restaurants now are growing their own herbs and lettuces on walls, right? So you have situations like this, or their troughs or trays, and then you have, stackable units, boom, 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 all the way up, and then fluorescent lighting or something that's LED that's not too intense for the plant. They won't burn it. So they're constantly cycling through, and a lot of times it's either a soil flood and drain or it's a hydroponic system. And that's going to be your stackable unit on the wall. Say you have a 10 by 12 bedroom, you have your flood and drain soil, or just your soil. Your squares. Maybe you do a 5 by 5 and a 5 by 5. There's your 50, 60 square feet right there, and then you have 30 square feet of stackable units plus some aisleways to move around in, and that can produce enough stuff for a small family. And if you're doing the canning system, you can store tomato sauce and chilies and all those kind of things, or a dehydrator, right? They can dehydrate those things,
So not just a growing game, it's a preserving game.
It's a preserving game. If you're not in this game to preserve, you're gonna have some challenges having a garden. It becomes too much work at some point. It's almost that you could go to the store and buy it cheaper and with less.
Well, and that's the thing, is you probably could. What we're concerned about, at least myself, and probably you too, is I don't know where they grew it at the store. This is not so much about the money. Obviously, it is. Everything's about the money when you have to pay for it. But is growing some stuff that we feel comfortable putting in our bodies. So that's what I'm thinking, is that even if it's maybe not super practical, that it's something that we can know where our food came from.
I would just go back to I would sit down as a family, make a list of, or look at what you buy the most over a 2-month cycle in terms of vegetables. What is able to be grown indoors easily at your house, and pick maybe 4 or 5 things.
Just get started.
And just make sure that you look on Amazon or eBay for either a food saver, which can seal your food.
Seal a meal, I think maybe. The thing that sucks it's like the bag of
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I got one of those.
That a pressure cooker, because that'll make it so you can instantly.
Okay.
So you could make your sauces or your chilies or whatever, and then a dehydrator for things that are spices that you're growing.
Okay.
Like thyme and mint and basil and whatever. Like you want to concentrate it. Oregano, things like that, and then you dehydrate it, grind it, and then boom, there you go.
Now that's something I wanted to ask you about. Is a lot of people I talked about spices and herbs, and they're like bugs. So you
want to separate them. Those, especially the lettuces and the kales and like some of the cilantros of the world, things like that. You want to separate that from your other garden so that they don't jump ship and go and start infesting.
So put them across the room from there, or do I need to be doing tents, or what do I need to be doing?
Across the room is good, but a tent would be a step above that, or a separate room would be even better.
Okay. So perhaps I might have my herbs in my kitchen. I might have my lettuce along one wall, and I have my trays on the opposite side, and I see how that goes, and I'm looking for signs of pests and that sort of thing, and watching out for that.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, I've taken more than enough of your time. I sure appreciate you doing this and coming in. All right, thanks a lot. And that's that. Okay, well that was nice. It sure was nice of Mark to stop by. For those of you who don't know, Mark makes this stuff, Green Gro. They make some pretty amazing soil amendments for building super soil. They got a veg and a bloom specifically. Flower finisher for if you're growing cannabis to get nice hard flowers, and Earthshine, which is a biochar. Pretty cool stuff for fixing your soil, for recharging your soil. We did a video about that. I'll put that up about that. So that's that. It was nice of him to stop by. I thought he had some pretty interesting information. Thought we should talk to him. But now let's get started with this garden. So next episode, we're going to be going through these guys. We're going to be taking these guys and moving them into some bigger pots. We're going to start talking about what nutrients and microbials, micronutrients, and teas we're going to be using. We're going to get started with this in earnest, get the whole thing going. So that's that for today. But I'll see you next week. We're going to get this thing going. We're going to have us a garden. It's going to be fun. For more information about anything on today's show, go to our website, OCGFAM.com. The OCGFAM Show, it's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCGFAM Show. See you tomorrow.